You know, we like to commonly say times have changed. And I'm going to say, man, times have changed like a motherfucker. All right, check this out. So, so I just left the post office, right? I had a couple eBay sales, so I drop it off the post office. And then I see, one of the cashiers, dude's got I want to say an 8-gauge septum ring, just like his nose is almost hanging, right? 3 lip piercings, working at the post office. Which, don't get me wrong, like, that's cool. That tells me, how much society has opened their minds. Hey, can you do the job? We don't care what you look like. That was not a thing when I was when I was 19 years old. Now, I've been working, I think I got my first job when I was like 17. Yeah, I did. My first job when I was 17, right? About 19 is when I really got into, I would say 19 is when I decided I want to do music. And then, I was already, in the whole alternative lifestyle. I was into my punk metal shit. I was, I was starting to really get into horror movies and was a hip hop head as well. So, and yeah, I'd spike my hair. Every month was a different color: green, blue, red. I think red and black were my favorite combinations. I'm actually thinking of doing that again. And yeah, my first piercing was an eyebrow piercing. I didn't get tattoos till probably about early 20s. And then throughout my 20s, when I got the sleeves done, which I still got more work to do. Been a while though. So, man, oh yeah, they see that eyebrow piercing. Oh geez, it was just like, oh, we can't hire you. You look unprofessional, or you'll, our older clientele would be appalled. Bitch, please. And so I remember working at Big Lots. You guys remember Big Lots? It closed not too long ago. And so, I had normal brown hair, and then I was like, got a job. So I went and bleached my hair and then dyed it green. I came into school, not school. I came into work. They damn near had to have a meeting with like 3 managers, like I stole something. And they just weren't too fond of the fact that I dyed my hair green. And it was a big fucking deal. Big fucking deal. And I'm like, what does it matter? I can still run a register, right? Oh God, every fucking day was an issue. I remember there was some other supervisor or manager would be on my ass every 5 minutes. And, you know what I mean? Stocking the shelves and stuff like that. And then they asked me, hey, put the card up. I did, and I ran to a guy I went to high school with. Now, we were talking, and I'm walking back into the store. I didn't sit on the curb and chat with him, but I did talk to him. He said, hey. I said, hey. And then we talked as we're both walking back. He worked at one of those, like, cash saver grocery stores right next door, right? I come in, and the guy just looks at me and then looks at the other guy, and he goes, look, we're not paying you $6 an hour to talk to people. Like, $6 an hour is a lot of money. Which, funny, back then, minimum wage was $5 an hour. So, we're paying you $1 above the minimum. So you should get on your knees and suck her dicks, basically how they feel, I guess. But I'm sitting here, I'm just like, what was I supposed to do, ignore him? What if he was a customer in the store and I ignored him? You'd get on to me for that. See, yeah, it was just, and I don't know if that had anything to do with I was the only one there that looked that had that look. So, and it didn't, it was the second I came to work with green hair is a fucking issue. And I was constantly trying to get jobs at warehouses, or I know Hot Topic, Spencer's, places like that, because it was just like, well, I can look the part all I want. I don't have to worry about this shit. But that's how every teenager, everyone my age that was within the alternative scene, same way, Of course, warehouses I fucking hated working for, but it was just like, you're not in the public, so you have to worry about that. It's just interesting to see that now, like, I saw someone at the bank with like 3 piercings. You know what I mean? And I've had the septum ring or whatever. I'm not into that. I grew out of that. You know, I think I went up to. I think I went up to a 6 gauge once. That didn't last long because it just felt like my nose was hanging. So, but no, I don't know. I had the Libre thing and all that. But man, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, the emo scene really ruined a lot of that for me, because that seems to be their thing. I know emo's not really, well, kind of is still a thing, but it just kind of became I don't know, man. I just kind of grew out of that. But you know, I never grew out of the tattoos or whatever. In fact, I'm gonna get more pretty soon. But yeah, it's crazy. Walmart, Target, it's just wild, because my generation, you know, fought the good fight. I feel like we're like the veterans of this, where we dealt with all the bullshit that our employers would give us, you know, because they're like, oh no, you look a little too radical, that might cost the company money, and then now it's just not even a big deal. It's wild to see that. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to know that you don't have to, you know, because there's all kinds of things. I remember, like, my guy I'd go to when I got the Libre piercing, and he said, hey, I'll he gave me like a black ball, and then and he said, yeah, if you just take some like mascara, cover it in, and then they won't see it. But then it also feels kind of pointless to have a soul patch and a Libre piercing. The Libre piercing is kind of like the kind of replaces that, or whatever. I don't know. I never thought it blended in that well, you know. But yeah, that was my youth. It was like all about the piercings, all about the body modification, and trying to find a way to hide it so you could still have a job. And now it don't even fucking matter anymore. So, and I don't know about face tattoos. I definitely know you can't work a Fortune 500 company, and you know, they're still not gonna have that. So I don't know, like, I think other than like a little here and there, like a little skull or something, I don't know. I've never been into the face tattoo thing. Not even like the little, like, some people have like the teardrop, or some people will have like a star, or something like that, and that's just not my thing. Not my thing, and I'm glad I didn't. Throat, hand tat. I'm not into the hand tattoo, the neck. To me, you know, arms. If it comes down to legs, that's about it. I don't know how I feel. I don't know about the whole chest tattoo and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I had a friend of mine. I actually went with him, and he got it done, and we had to hold him down, dude. So I'm just, because he was like squirming and shit. Nah, I'm good on all that. I'm good on all that. Because I still do. I will say, as I'm older, I do want to have the ability to cover certain things up. Because being in business, and I want to be in as much rooms as possible, enough opportunities. So I'm not trying to, you know, and furthermore, man, I do very well care about my appearance. I'm not trying to go in looking like looking like a Chipotle bag or elementary school desk. So I don't know, man. There's some people who have, like, my tattoo artist has face tattoos, but his actually, I will say, I look really, really fucking cool. It's just the design that he has, but it works for him. Like, you know what I mean? There's just some people I just think went too far with it, you know. It's almost like a dedication. You'll never get an actual job ever again. But even then, even if you just go the entrepreneurial route, it's just like there's still some people that you need to take you seriously, and some people aren't going to take you seriously when you got a bunch of random shit on your face. That's just my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some that have it, and it's cool, but I'm still gonna talk my shit. I'm still gonna make a joke, okay? But me personally, I'm glad I never did that. I'm good with what I got, and moving forward, I say arms and legs is about all I'm gonna tattoo. So, yeah, I don't know even the neck part, and I'll say this much: I do think some neck tattoos look pretty dope. I'm just personally not going there. I just can't imagine that. I don't know, man. You got to think about the whole getting the tattoo and then the healing process. So, man, there's just only so much I'm willing to do. So that's just not my thing. But I have seen a lot of like neck sleeve tattoos that I think are actually super dope. So I can think something looks dope without wanting it. I can think something looks cool without wanting it. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got for this. But yeah, man, times have changed, man. There's definitely things that I don't want to say back in my day, but when I was a teenager and even in my 20s, but I remember slowly seeing that. I remember slowly seeing society getting better, and it's less and less because you weren't the whole judging someone by its cover became less. They didn't think that you were a thug or a criminal just because you had tattoos and all that, because that used to be the narrative. You know what I mean? So, but hey, hey guys, I'm all for it. Obviously, I'm all for it. So it's just wild to see it because this used to not be a thing. It used to be a struggle. Like I said, man, I mean, bro, I knew people who got written up just because I got I remember a girl got written up at work because she had a flower tattoo, I think on her forearm or something. I worked at Blockbuster, bro. Okay, I'll end on this. I'm not trying to Blockbuster Video, which I'm happy I did, but I tell you what, the management there were fucking dicks. Yeah, so as much as I love Blockbuster Video as the culture, it's just like, was not one of my favorite jobs, unfortunately, and I expected different. But there was a guy I worked with, which I don't really care because the guy was kind of a douchebag, but at the same time, and this is when, because I'm in Oklahoma, so for a while tattooing was illegal in Oklahoma. And it kept getting voted. I know the church people were voting it down and all this stuff. So people would have to drive to Arkansas, which is only 2 hours away from Tulsa, anyway. And so this dude, I guess he went on a road trip to get a tattoo, and it was like an octopus or something. I don't know. He thought he was a bad motherfucker with it, but I thought the dude was a fucking nerd. But yeah, he had to wear the long sleeve shirt, and then if he lifted up, he would have it where you could still see like the tentacles. Like he wanted so bad to flex that, and I guess one point he did, and he did have the sleeve up, and then management saw it, and then I think he got like a warning, or he would get written up and all this stuff. And I will say one thing he did say that made a lot of sense, like at the end of the movie, at the end of the night, we're closing the store, and then you have to make sure all everything's like centered, everything's like the shells are you're making sure that the cover box is all neat and stuff like that. And you guys, for those of you guys that remember Blockbuster Video, they didn't have like an adult. Definitely not in the state of Oklahoma. We didn't have the porno section, the adult section, like a lot of video stores and a lot of other states. When I went to Germany, you went downstairs, it was all over. Dicks, tits, and pussies were on the front cover. Like magazines, like Germany was wild. And I was 13 when I went there and I saw all that shit. Yeah. Yeah, man. Europe's a whole nother story. But yeah, Blockbuster, at least here in the state of Oklahoma, we didn't. But they had your Cinemax. You remember Skinemax? You remember Cinemax? They would have like raunchy movies after 9 o'clock, but it was all softcore porn. Like they weren't really showing it. They were just, yeah, they had a fair share of that. And I remember him saying, "It's like, so we can rent out movies with this shit on the front cover, desired fantasies, but I can't show my fucking tattoo. It's stupid." I actually agree with that. It's just like, what's more worse for families to see? Like some stupid octopus tattoo. That's a crime, but to show that you have films about people fucking, even though it's fake, but soft, but still, it's like the front cover. Clearly, it's some girl in a, lingerie and all this kind of stuff. You can show that. Okay, cool, whatever. Anyways, guys, that's all I got. Peace.